One of the first components of mindfulness-based cognitive therapy is working with individuals to help them identify their patterns and their ways of going on automatic pilot so they can begin to see opportunities for mindfulness, opportunities to pause and slow down and perhaps make a different choice. And so most people are pretty familiar with that concept of automatic pilot. And you'll ask, oh, what are the ways you go on automatic pilot and the different activities we do in our day where we're on automatic pilot? Brushing our teeth, maybe making coffee, driving to work. How many times have you driven from point A to point B and you sort of arrive, you pull in, you park, and you don't remember anything of the drive because you were in your head, you were thinking, you were planning, you were worrying, you were in the past, you were ruminating. There's all kinds of examples that most of us have in our daily lives in which our body is doing one thing, but our minds and our hearts are doing something else because we're not fully present. We're not embodied and mindful of whatever's happening. And often this happens with activities that are very routine, things that we've done so many times. So we don't actually think we have to think about it. Driving's a good example of that, or showering, getting ready in the morning. Our bodies have this procedural memory and know how to do it. And so we don't have to bring our full attention. But if you remember what it was like when you were first learning how to drive, it was like, oh, where do I place my hands? And is everything okay? You were really paying attention to all the different parts of the activity because it had not been coded into your procedural memory yet. Once this happens, we think we can now, great, we can multitask. I don't actually have to pay attention to doing this thing because my body knows how to do it. So my mind and my emotions are going to be over here. Well, when people have recurrent depression or anxiety, what can happen is everyday low mood, because we all have lability in our mood, or something happens that might be cause for a little bit of worry or concern. That happens. And when we are not really mindful and sort of embodied and fully wherever our feet are planted, our minds have great capacity to take a little bit of thread and just run with it. And so while we're doing something, our minds are going somewhere else. And they're double downing on this anxiety or worry or rumination about the past, just with a little bit of stimulus of a low mood or a little something happens. You hear something on the radio or TV, and then the mind just goes because we're not fully embodied. We're not mindful. And so the risk for somebody who suffers from depression or anxiety is that by the time they're aware that they're in full-blown sort of anxiety or panic, or in a significant downward spiral in terms of their mood, they're already significantly suffering because they have not caught those early stages of it because of this separation, the lack of awareness, the lack of mindfulness. So if somebody doesn't have anxiety or depression or other kinds of sort of psychological vulnerabilities in that way, it's also not very helpful, but it's not nearly as impactful as if you have anxiety or depression, because by the time you come to really pay attention to the fact that, oh, I feel terrible, or, oh, this is panic, you didn't have any chance to catch it because you were on automatic pilot. So recognizing the ways in which we go on automatic pilot and the times that we do is this first activity of mindfulness in MBCT, is starting to bring awareness to everyday activities, events, to know where your mind is. This is really the essence of mindfulness, is becoming intimately familiar with the workings of your own mind, including the ways it goes on automatic pilot. And things like rumination or worry is also automatic pilot. It's a habit loop that we may not particularly enjoy, but it's quite familiar. And anything that is familiar is always going to feel better than trying to do something differently. But mindfulness gives us the opportunity and the invitation to do it differently. So